I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Cigarettes on cigarettes. My mama think I stink. I got purples in my hoodies. All my homies think it's fake. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Okie dokie, alky dokie, feel low-key like Oreo. Oreo gon' blow the loudy. Salty or sour, shouty. Wiley up off peyote. Wildin' like that coyote. Yo, Shadow. My belly just might be outy. Pulled up inside a huggy. Start eating Usher Ducky. I just opened up the packet and now we're all as well lucky. Tonight she just yelling fuck me. We she'll be yelling fuck me. You feel like orange cosmetics with Timmy, Tommy, and Chucky. And Chucky, Jesus, pieces, sing Jesus, love me. Put Visine inside my eyes so my grandma would fucking hug me. Your generation above me, I know you still remember me. My afro look just like that is. Y'all taught me how to go hunting. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got pearls in my hoodies on my own. Hey, Tomas. Oh, the one that's already passed through. She's my biggest fan. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got pearls in my hoodies on my homies think it's stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I will smoke a little something, but I don't inhale. Everywhere that I go, everywhere TS has it going to the go in. Well, go figures, light skin, Jesus got me feeling like Cole and Bell. All praise to the guy, got nose to pro, he's a pro like Cole Intel. Check me to the barrel like you know me well. I mean, normally you see Norma Jean with a figure with armor. Fail, but these kids these days, they get so high, burn, trees, smoke, chloro. Fail, so they can't feel shit, they think this 15 hits. Hey, Craig! Miseducated, my dick delegated, black bill, validated, shoulda never made it, probably shoulda been dead or in jail. Just be dead, enough of that jazz, asshole absent up in that glass. Are we there yet? Ice cubes in the ball with brain dead, take it up in the past. I think we all addicted, yeah. I think we all addicted. Run it up. I think we all addicted, yeah. I think we all addicted. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got myrtles in my memories, my homies think it's stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I think we all addicted. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got myrtles in my hoodies, all my homies think it's stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Great. Thank you, Bob. Hey, bitch. Don't be so judgmental, even though I'm reminiscing if I don't know what I miss is. So I end up picking up at his home, and my mother and my grandmother cover for the kisses. This is just a testament to the ones that raised me, the ones that I praise and I thank it. I need a woman trying to come up in my clothes, and I want to get a hug, and I can't cause I'm spanking. Never so old for my spanking. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got my bones in my memories. Hey, Frosty. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got purples in my hoodies, all my homies think it's stink. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. I miss my cocoa butter kisses. Cigarettes on cigarettes, my mama think I stink. I got purples in my hoodies, all my homies think. Yeah, Remy was live. And then I got on the phone and I was running my mouth. My bad, y'all. I know I'm running a little bit behind. I told y'all 8.
We don't want no devils in the house.
Yes,
Lord.
Yes, yes.
No. How y'all doing tonight? Haven't heard that one before. Let's try that.
Hey, Laura, it's me.
Well, I have heard that one. Let's try that one. I'm looking for something. Yeah, we were running out of miles. Pray. Hey, Craig.
What's up, sis?
Not much. I finally figured out where this stuff was in my folder. I was looking for something to upload. Supposed to be playing this thing. Hey, Chuck. You wish I would do it this later tonight. You want to set something up for tomorrow, Chuck? Or Thursday? Cause I work tomorrow. But you want to set up something? You want to set something up for Thursday? Hey, Divine, you love. Hey, Divine, you love. Oh, I already got it loaded. Okay. Yeah, I know you've been busy. We did 3 already, so we're going to go over some more. We did take a day off. I done got blocked on IG. Okay. I done got blocked on IG and Facebook by UG. Why you do me like that? I like this one. For one of our treehouse angels, they sent me, I think this is commercial, Todd Noonan.
That's a real G right there.
NineByNature.com. They was doing the soaps and stuff, but I didn't know they was doing herbs and organic pepper. shout out one of the content sponsors for the Treehouse, Tarkino Nupu. I think I said it right. I don't know. I be tearing Noonan name up. How is everybody doing tonight? So the main thing we gonna be doing tonight is articles. The main thing, but we don't never just stay on one topic. We always gotta, make our little side tours and stuff. Anybody want to jump up and comment? They're more than welcome. These are the news articles from 99 on upwards. Let's see, page 11. Because we read the first three. Scrolling. There we go. Eden site raises a lot of questions. Macon Telegraph, August 8th, 1999. Do we have any questions before we get to rolling? Hey, Salima. Like begging for cash apps. And I have lost my access. He blocked me, y'all. Eugene, why you blocked me? You don't want them folk to know your site wasn't hacked? There is a 473-acre plot outside Edenton that has brought unheard of conflict and dissent to the rural community, and no one can even agree on what to call it. Yeah, word, Mitch. You should sell it $600 hat. Prime. To visitors, it is called a curiosity, memorable for its colorful Egyptian monuments, stories, high pyramids, and the medley of music that pours past the gates. To some in local government and law enforcement, it is called the compound, stirring images of the cultish separatists in places like Waco and Ruby Ridge. To the hundreds of people who live on or frequent it, this is Tamaray, or simply the land. The Nuwaubian Nation of Moors came to Putnam County in 1993, believing the area is equal parts native birthright, religious shrine, and natural homeland. Excuse me. Hey, Saida, hop up if you want. And remember, mods, it is up to you to drop your own channel links. For the content creators among you, whatever it is called, it has given rise to tension in Middle Georgia, a rural southern community with shared deep roots, southern traditions, and a population that's about 63% white and 37% black. Putnam County now is forced to confront its own feelings about change and outsiders. Putnam County is a county, but don't get it twisted with city living. Tamaray was 473 acres. They only utilized about 19 of those. Between 17 and 19. We just go average it out and say 20. Now, what they did was about 400 and some odd acres of unused cattle land, which nothing is wrong with that. You just till the earth over and it's great. You got grass going fast. Shit makes the grass grow, rah, 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 all that. But in that, it's going to be a lot of distance between neighbors because your house is going to, of course, be on your acreage. And your acreage, your house ain't probably going to be on the edge of your acreage. So, it's a little bit of separation. The Nuwaubians, a predominantly black cultural organization that blends elements of Christianity, Islam, Judaism, and ancient Egyptian religion, are discovering the complexity of large scale development in a new place and are doing it behind walls patrolled by armed guards and surround. Hey, Nappy. Nappy for real. Lord, he out here begging. He done got busted out by the webmaster. Everybody done blasted out that he got busted out by the webmaster. Complexity of large-scale development in a new place and are doing it behind walls patrolled by armed guards and surrounded by locals who wonder about the newcomers' intentions. The legal battles between the Nuwaubians, push the wrong button, and the Putnam government have largely centered on the use of their land, zoning, building codes, and inspections. The legal battles, remember this is August 8th, 1999. Zoning, building codes, and inspections. But one thing both sides do agree on is that zoning disputes only paper over the real discord. Can these two groups of people, the newcomers and the long-term residents, accept each other enough to peacefully coexist? Nuwaubians lived in their village and the surrounding counties, cities of Eatonton and Milledgeville for years before serious problems developed and growth on the land was largely ignored. Chakra almost. That changed last January when occasional skirmishes over zoning and permits escalated into a lawsuit in which Putnam County officials charged Nuwaubian leaders with illegally operating a nightclub in a building zoned only for storage. I heard somebody knock on the door. Craig! By the middle of March, a Putnam County judge halted 5K off 500 or something you can do for yourself on Cashapp. Man, that's scamalicious. Yeah, we gonna get Saida channel boosted before she actually starts her channel. So go ahead and subscribe in anticipation of that Saida hotness that only Saida brings, because you know you love the sister. So go ahead and subscribe now because we finna start getting her set up. By the middle of March, a Putnam County judge halted all construction on the land in the face of charges that the group was building without permits and operating an unlicensed landfill. Now that's a new tidbit I did not know. Oh my, operating an unlicensed landfill. Hotel living at its finest. On June 15th, Putnam Sheriff Howard Seals acted on a court order and padlocked 5 buildings in the village, including 2 pyramids identified by the Nuwaubians as a church and a holy temple. Today, the Nuwaubians still have permit applications pending with the county inspector and little has changed. Nuwaubian spokespeople claim the county is deliberately hindering development in the village, while county officials said they are only enforcing well-established laws and ordinances. I have nothing against the Nuwaubians. All they have to do is abide by the law, said Putnam County Commissioner Robert Poole. If they do what they say they're going to do, we won't have any problems. Okay, Craig. They was operating a landfill. Hey, we all have them, Saida. Y'all done seen me y'all done heard me have a couple. Y'all done heard me bust the shit out my knee on this joint. Everything. I think this deserves a scam song. He was operating an unlicensed landfill. Was it that bad out there, or was he just throwing trash in a pile? Because they'll get you for that in Georgia. Then we going to go with scam when you want. Scam you when you want. I don't even know how to say that name.
I had a very bad day, so bad it felt my day. Ain't nobody else felt this way. Was hoping to fuck she but must have no way. Every night I'm trying to build my GPA. My head on freaking gray. I'm sent back to Bombay.
But life still scamming, y'all. He desperate. He dipping in people's DMs, asking for money to flip.
I'm not broke, only here for cash. If you didn't do your IRS, then
you G. Them walls closing in, ain't they, be little baby? Little bitty fella. What, Mitch? You never saw a dumpster that wasn't construction related? Oh my goodness.
Oh, police, a sign of a crime. Every time that I scam is scamming really bad. Cause I got really goddamn what Codas always say is not the truth, it's a stereotype.
This song don't make no kind of sense.
Regardless, I'm gonna say PUBG and curry with my friends. I live in my car, bro.
They was probably throwing it out. Okay, so hold on. Can you hop up in, Mitch? I got some questions now.
Scam you when you need, scam you in the morning, I'll be on my way. Scam you in the car, scam you in the street, scam you in the daylight, that's really my speed.
Girl, I can't even say the name. The name of the song, though, if you type it in YouTube, it's Scam You When You Want. It's called Scam You When You Want. Yeah, it looked like it's Russian. Yeah, Saida. They go out there and put lime on that stuff. Look, that was pasture land and woods. Oh my God. They probably had wasp rats and everything else out there. Like, no. I have nothing against the Nuwapians. All they have to do is abide by the law, said Putnam County Commissioner Robert Poole. If they do what they say they're going to do, we won't have any problems. They tell you that. So, Nappy, look, when you live out in the country, you know exactly what a dumpster is. Because if they catch you dumping it out anywhere else, it's like a thousand. What, the fine started like $1,000 or some shit? They don't play by that stuff. They do not play by that stuff. Let me see. What is the fine for illegal dumping in Georgia?
According to Athens Clarke County, illegally dumping more than 500 pounds is considered a misdemeanor on the first offense. A second conviction is a felony, punishable by a fine of up to $25,000 or a prison sentence of up to 2 years.
That ain't me that said that. That's go-go. Devania. York wasn't concerned about the proper authorities because he wouldn't even do something as simple as get the building zone right. But communication between groups has ranged from strained to outright threatening, and it is difficult to know exactly what has been said in closed-door meetings this year. Renee McDade and Marshall Chance, national spokespeople for the Nuwaubians, said county officials routinely reject permit applications on technicalities. When they addressed those concerns, McDade and Chance said the county finds new reasons to reject them. We keep being put off, said Chance, Tamaray spiritual leader and an ordained Baptist minister who dresses in black with a traditional clergyman's collar. They say it's lawful. We say it's obstruction. The group's most recent applications were rejected earlier this month because the plat, a detailed map of the land, did not meet the county's standards. They have received permits for some of the monuments, including a tall obelisk and a statue, but the pyramids and other buildings are still padlocked. So who owns them now, Mitch? Do you know? Well, one of them buildings still in operation. That's that bookstore. We didn't see that by the whirling dervishes. The elderly whirling dervishes, but whirling dervishes no less. And just because they were brought up, we got to play them. Chakra need his wrench. Oh, hold on, my bad. I ain't see that. I sorry, Chakra. I do apologize.
Stepping in when you be. Leave the crack. It's a time to sleep. Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Let the breathe! Grandmaster! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! Oh hell! The sovereign Grand Commander.
Mitch, you knew what you was doing.
His Excellency, Dr. Malachi Z. 33 degrees is the 720. Perfection and completion. We are his sons. From there, left, 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 left. All one family. Now we go up. Stop that people now. You know what I mean?
Different types wear a day coat, pants and stripes, and cut away coats. Button on the wrist.
Nick for my boo. I know, right, Saida? Chuck went to bed, Devanya. We gonna try to hook something up, but he got folks in from out of town.
Walk with sticks and umbrellas in their midst. Button on the wrist.
Yeah, this is Gregory Porter's version. Does anybody have any better songs for this? I know, right, Saida?
You don't know where to go to. Why don't you go where this is? Button on the wrist. Different types wear a day coat, pants and stripes, and cut away coats. Button on the wrist. Just step right
super duper. I got a better one.
I won't die, won't bury, won't sleep. Cause love is the spirit I drink.
I'm just playing now.
In the morning light, cause your touch is a medicine.
Y'all done left me up here too long.
Hey yo, little groove on that beat, man. I had a very bad day. So bad, it felt like Monday. Ain't nobody else really felt this way. Was hoping to PUBG, but mom said no way. Every night I'm trying to build my GPA. Till my head turned freaking
This
gray.
works better.
Or I'm sent back to Bombay. I really have no choice, cause I ain't living right.
Shadow.
And curry with my friends. I live in my car, bro, not really a Benz. I'm not broke, only here for cash. If you didn't do your IRS, then you know I can. Scam you when you want, scam you when you need. Scam you in the morning, I'll be on my way. Scam you in the car, scam you in the street. Scam you in the daylight.
That's why I be telling y'all to come up here and hold my hand.
My soft, my soft, my soft. I want to die till I'm dying. I want 10 rupee bills till they're flying. I want the light of some sketches supplying. Shoot a nigga in your mouth while I'm frying. Oh, oh, police, a sign of a crime. Every time that I scam is scamming really bad. Cause I gotta leave goddamn what Kodas always say is not the truth, it's a stereotype. Nothing on the internet is right. Just like the open podcast, I fight. Regardless, I'm gonna say PUBG and curry with my friends. I live in my car, bro, not really a Benz. I'm not broke, only here for cash. If you didn't do your IRS, then you know I can. Scam you when you want, scam you when you need. Scam you in the morning, I'll be on my way. Scam you in the car.
Yeah, Mitch, you're right. You should have never sent me this, but you knew what you was doing when you did it, and you can't undo it. Too late. Okay, we gonna finish this article at least first. See, that's why I told y'all to come hold my hand. Y'all know I'm semi-ratchet. The group's most recent applications. Okay, yeah. This is something that is asked of every citizen, including myself, says Sandra Adams, also a county commissioner. Beyond the individual buildings on the Nuwapians property, commissioners said they are concerned about long-term development and the impact it will have on the rest of the county. Chance said he envisions diverse facilities, including a recording studio and theme park, but y'all ain't got y'all running an unlicensed landfill, in Tamaray's future as it grows into a significant cultural and residential center. Lord help us all. Estimates from different sources place between 100 and 300 people living full-time in the village, and as it expands, Chance says surrounding cities will reap the rewards. We want to help the town grow and help the economy flourish, he said, explaining that members would continue to shop, work, bank, and dine in Eatonton and Milledgeville. Mitch, you and I both know that, but this is the shit he was throwing in 1999. But county officials questioned whether unchecked growth was desirable or possible, saying the impact on infrastructure and utilities may be more than the county can carry. A lot of planning has to be done before there's large growth there, Poole said, and I don't see where the county is going to benefit too much from it. Side issues have created fear and distrust. Putnam officials have been distracted by a flood of newsletters and flyers that berate and sometimes threaten public figures, including offering a $500 reward for embarrassing information about people like Sills. The documents have been printed by groups with names like Concerned Citizens of Eatonton, but county officials believe they are run by Nuwabian members. They took it upon themselves to exercise their freedom of speech, said McDade, who added that the publication did not come from the official Nuwapian organization. We're not going to be intimidated in any way, shape, or form, Poole said. When they put a bounty on somebody's head, that's not very Christian of them. McDade said prominent members of the Nuwaubians have also received death threats. A Putnam County minister, Robert Lee, publishes a vehemently anti-Nuwaubian newsletter condemning the group as satanic and has led marches protesting their development. Hey, my Niqua boo. Now, Saida, I checked the Miami County website the county clerk website before I went live. I checked it when I woke back up, and it still got 7 and 23. See how folk run with a rumor. They be, ooh, Lord, some of these folk around here, baby.
Drip set. You got more drip. More. What I do? What's funny about my march? These niggas, they some march.
Nah, that ain't gonna do. That won't do at all. Oh, Lord. This one right here is a shout out to Polite, but we gonna put some backup dances on for him.
Go hire 100 swipers so I can build me an empire. 200 up the freeway in the scat, I had to change tires. Walmart system different, so I had to go inside Myers. Scratch the numbers off a real credit card with car flyers. Nigga on the side of the road trying to panhandle. They thought I opened up the website, but it's just all a scandal. As soon as you click the link, I get your information. Ordered a t-shirt 3 years ago and he's still waiting. I scared by
He ordered a t-shirt 3 years ago and still waiting.
Ran off on time breaking from the New England Patriots. I was looking for a show, I shot up the whole stadium. Who I caught a hit, man, this nigga is Arabian. To scam my own feds, man, that shit is not cool. Bought a t-shirt off my website, nigga, you're a fool. Fire ass profile and it came with the fools. Burn our computer, I just bought a new Toshiba. Tested my piece at the store and I bought a box of tequila. Got some iPhones through a dumb bitch in her name, Tanisha. Niggas broke as hell, can't even buy their own pizza. On the run for bank fraud, trying to hide from paparazzi. Killer should've been my pops, I hate niggas like a Nazi. Scammed the wrong nigga, ran into him and he shot me. Waved my strap on in the cameraman face and he shot me. Tried to use a fake ID up at the club, they said that's not you. Wipe the nigga nose and I handed him some tissue. We can go bid for being if it's beneficial. Carjacked the old lady, then I whipped her with my fist. Carjacked the muscular nigga, had to beat him with a shotgun. To the club, seen some niggas throwing quarters and pennies, not on my computer looking up some new being, that's what I call dragging a body to the
Cut now by Dro. Okay, hold on.
My whole life free, I ain't even paid for my back. Tried to give a couple niggas some free sauce and got backstabbed. Yesterday I made 7,800 off my A-Rad.
Drop the link for it, Niqua.
I was just playing about that book.
Drop the link for it. I can't find it like that. It didn't come up with anything. They keep that little bookstore clean so they can do their little rituals. Talk to me nice. Saida, my boo.
Girl, maybe this must be a parody skit or something, but I know he's
Is that
making jokes.
Jamil C again?
Is that Jamil something Peterson or something like that?
Yeah, he a comedian.
I said, what in the hell is he talking about
Girl.
polite at the damn or what? I said, did you hear anything? Like what? I was like, because if that happened, I know you would have reported on it. I know it would have went down.
Yeah. Nah,
That's
the
why I
only
said,
thing that happened today was I got blocked from IG and Facebook by polite. Okay, so you want
he's
me to
such
play
a
the
pussy.
dance? Hold on. Okay, we got a music request. Oh Lord.
Long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? But I've been to Cotton Eye Joe. I've been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Girl, so many possibilities. Do that, let's spin again. Hey, Chris.
They look like a giant tennis bracelet.
They look like what?
A giant tennis bracelet. You know the tennis bracelets? All sparkling across like looks like a big ass fucking.
Okay, now you gotta hold it down. I'll be right back.
I mean, they do. They look like jewelry, like a giant tennis bracelet with some black onyx up in there. I mean, they hurt my eyes. But I mean, not the tennis bracelet would hurt my eyes because I would love that. But this whole picture is hurting my eyes. I can't. They're just glittering all over the place. Let me say hi to everybody. Hi, A Mitch. Hi, Nikwa B. Sister Divanya. Chakra Almost. Who else is in the house? DJ Craig. I can't see everybody because for some reason it's not letting me go all the way down. But I'm going off the top of my head. Who else is in the house? Well, everybody. Hello, everybody. How you doing? How you doing out there? Okay, now you're Octavius again. Shaka laka, shaka laka, shaka laka. Come up here. Who's up here with us? Somebody else up here?
No, it's just us.
Oh, okay. What is that on the side with the? Oh, that's the other. You have another window open.
Yeah, that's the article.
Oh, okay. Who is that lady that just passed by?
That's in the video.
I know, but who is she?
I don't know, one of them New Wapian folk.
Hey, look. Okay, so I was on Big O one day, right? And I came across
uh
um another like. Oh, I thought the dude was some kind of Nuwapian because he had that pyramid,
Mitch.
land
Go
thing
ahead.
there, right?
Uh
Picture of it, but they were calling themselves something else because it wasn't Sabian.
Sabians,
No, it wasn't Sabians. It was a whole different name.
the
And I
Yamasi tribe.
no, I think it was something like a I'll go back up in Big O and I'll come back with the name. But I was like, did they have a new extension? They're like,
Ladies and gentlemen, Chakra almost.
is he out in the house?
Yes, it
Shaka.
is. It's Chakra Outmost in the house. I said that I wasn't gonna
Uneducated
come back until the full moon, but
piece of welcome.
we almost there. It's Wednesday is coming up.
Food.
We still at
Yeah.
99% of illumination of the moon. Tomorrow will be at 100% illumination. The full moon will be tomorrow. Um, I did notice something very interesting when I was on YouTube today.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Neil deGrasse Tyson's channel. and he's talking like setting the record straight about the moon.
Oh Lord.
He uses some. I think he's a secret follower. I
Of
think
you?
I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is listening.
Hold on, Nappy say Prince York is on Bigo. He has a cult called Yanoon. Hey, Chakra, let me ask you, what's up with all these chicks with belly beads and all these pornos?
Well, you know, I have no idea about that. I didn't even know.
I mean, these belly beads, they're supposed to be ethnic or whatever. Tasha, how you know? Mind your damn business. We found Nature Boy on there, didn't we?
Nature Boy's everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Look, I'm talking about on Pornhub. We found him on Pornhub.
We go looking for Nature
He's
Boy.
everywhere and no same time. Like he's living in both of those spaces at the same time.
But I'm saying that it's a whole lot of chicks with them. You know them beads they put around their waist now.
Mm-hmm.
Them.
The what are they called?
No, you know, cult members like to do esoteric type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They put two and two together. I don't know. Nation Boy banned from Big O. Yeah, he been banned from Big O for like a month.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to pay the first minute and 50. I'm supposed to start at the 150 mark.
And like when I'm there, I don't never look at Nature Boy. I don't really. Well, every now and then I'll check out what he's talking about. But him and what's that other one? The drip god or whatever he call himself. Like those two are a trip.
Nature Boy's a nutcase. He needs to be in a insane asylum.
But so
He
is that
needs the
other
I love me coat in a padded
called
room.
Drip God guy, because he that's how that girl had just got shot not too long ago, messing around with him.
Mm-hmm.
And she was saying she was shot, but then it's like she was moving around, popping her butt everywhere, so nobody could figure out if she really shot or not. And then it was a big old thing. You know who I'm talking about? Oh gosh. Well, anyways, they're like extensions of this Nature Boy situation. Like it's a whole bunch of them, and basically just like a whole bunch of new age pimping, if you can call it that, because these girls are stupid. I don't understand what's going on. They all okay, so they're all disguising it under polygamy, right? So the girls are coming in as if they're the first, second wife or whatever, or they're auditioning to be an addition to the household, and it's all under the vein of polygamy. But truthfully, it's just pimping.
What household do you have when you live in the woods? They live in the woods. What
He moved
household is
back to
that?
the city, didn't you hear?
Nah,
They
I didn't
kicked
hear
him
that.
out the woods. He was too strange for them.
That's bad. You know you're doing wrong when you get kicked out
I
the goddamn
believe he's
woods.
currently in Atlanta.
Yeah, he go find a bunch of followers down there.
Polluting the already polluted water table.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I just call. I just want to add three things real quick. Then I'm gonna drop off regarding the whole York situation. So York was extremely cheap with his money. He spent money on the things he wanted to buy, like Cadillacs and mansions and those kind of things. He
Southern
wanted.
Navy, that's it. You're none. You're none.
Yeah, that's Prince York.
Yannon.
Yannin or something, and they have all
Yanu.
these pictures of the Yannin woman is this way and that way, and I was
Yeah,
because
he had dyed his beard white and cow. It think he the reincarnation of his daddy.
Yannon, yeah. Now, how
Next
you be a
thing you know,
reincarnation of someone
saying
when they're
that.
still alive?
That's what I'm saying. But next thing you know, he gonna say that Risk gave him the keys to the bureau, and they gonna be supposed to take off. Watch what I say.
They
Keep
say
going, me.
pimping. Hey, so he was so cheap, right? So one day I was on the land, and this brother walked up to me with a shovel. He was like, "Hey, he's like, you got a car, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, next time you come, you think you can swing through the auto parts store and if you want to make a donation to buy a manual on how to fix tractors and is it tractors and some other like construction equipment?" I was like, "Construction equipment?" So I'm pretty sure they don't sell those kind of manuals at at the regular like AutoZone or something. I don't know where to get no manuals like that. It's like, yeah, man, you see that those vehicles over there? And it was, like farming equipment, but construction equipment, but used for digging. He said, yeah, because those vehicles don't work, and we got to dig these holes because we got to build these buildings. So I went over there. He's like, let me show you what we're doing. So I went over there. These fools are chest deep in pits, like they digging a grave, but they making space in order to put in buildings and stuff. I think they was building a koi pond or something, and they were actually chest deep in it because York would not buy the construction equipment like a backhoe or C or whatever you call it to get the dirt out in large amounts. He was using manual labor to do that, and he did that on several of those projects.
Well, the Egyptians supposedly did it, so I guess he thought that was what was up.
They wasn't digging holes though.
Digging holes to ground.
Oh Lord, hold on.
Shovels.
We were most definitely building pyramids. That's what we did. We built temples and pyramids
with shovels. Like they are a damn prison work crew out there with shovels digging.
We got a video from Jasmine.
Captain Love starting 14.
I remember this from being a kid.
I remember this. Farrakhan.
Captain, I'm picking up some strange signals. Something about intergalactic oppressors, sir.
Captain, intruders are approaching the bridge, sir. Who are you?
The rapper Farrakhan.
Spock, who is he? A former Calypso singer, Captain, who later became leader of a 20th century African-American religious sect known as the Nation of Islam.
You like to buy some incense?
No, thank you. What do you want? I've come to warn your crew of their enslavement aboard this vessel. That's poppycock. These people are perfectly free to do anything they want. It is that same lie that killed Elvis the King that made that poor child LaToya Jackson think she could sing. It is that same lie that's got white boys rapping and the fat boys acting.
Hey, Disorderlies was a good movie. I don't care what nobody say. Yeah, he was, Jasmine.
Oh, my Nubian princess, how long have you placed his cause? I watch this show every week, and all I see is the back of your nappy wig.
Over, start, now. Well, wait a second. He's right. I've been sitting here for 15 years with this damn thing in my ear, and ain't got one raise yet. Is that all good for? Be your little secretary or your occasional chocolate fantasy? You get up off your flat butt and get started with your damn self, because I ain't budging.
Yes, sister. Mr. Zulu, call Scotty. Tell him to get this man out of here. Wait a minute, Mr. Zulu. Before you touch that dial, answer me this question. Who does the laundry around here? I do. Mr. Zulu. Well, you call
The wheel is on the way.
face in front of everybody. I've been in space all this time, and I haven't had one woman yet. You even take the ugly ones, Captain. My loins are about to explode. I want to do the nasty. That's right, rise the fire. Mr. Spock, my friend, we've got to do something. Why do you say we, Caucasoid? It's obvious, Captain, that Minister Farrakhan is right. Spock, are you out of your fucking mind? Logically speaking, I am the strongest and most intelligent person aboard this vessel, yet I'm only second in command. I should be captain, and I'm also a better director than you. Can't you see it's discrimination? You get off my ship, buddy. Put your puny weapon down, Captain. You
Put your puny weapon down.
My people have survived 400 years of slavery, 300 years of apartheid, and 25 years of the Jeffersons and syndication. Go to your room. Oh, I love it.
Oh goodness. Hold on. She say that's the point.
Oh, I love it when I do that to them. Go to your room. Of the Jeffersons and syndication. Go to your room.
They wrong as hell. Little McCullough didn't give a damn.
So let me explain this real quick. So as when you're a Mason, right? Masons, as far as a Masonic lodge, you have a worshipful master at your local Masonic lodge, and then in charge of a state, you have what's called a Grand Master, and all of the lodges that are in that state are underneath that Grand Master while he's in that specific office, right? For most states, a Grand Master does not stay in there for forever. He stays in there for 2 years, 3 years, and then some jurisdictions a year. Then that Grand Master leaves, the next Grand Master comes in. While you're a Grand Master within that seat, when you're presiding or holding that seat, you should make a visit to each local lodge that's underneath your jurisdiction. When you go to that local lodge and you step through that threshold or through that door, that lodge should show you some form of honor as the Grand Master. And so they're doing that to a picture of York, which to me makes absolutely no sense. Because if York is not there to hold the seat as Grand Master, don't you think you should elect another Grand Master?
That would be what I would think would happen, but they still worshiping his ass.
But they still worshiping him, which tells you that everything is about York. So they can never come out, regardless of how much evidence we present, they could never come out and say that York is guilty. They could never come out and say, yeah, York molested children, he laundered money, that he structured his organization to evade just local. Just think about this. If you move right now to wherever, let's say we move to Tennessee, and I register to vote in Tennessee, that probably means I have a job in Tennessee. I'm gonna own a residence, a house, or whatever, a condo, a townhouse. I'm gonna pay taxes. Who on the land in New Orleans was paying taxes in Edenton, other than York? He was the only one. No one else really had residency there because there was no houses there that they were paying taxes and real estate on. You see what I'm saying? So how do they benefit? So you bring all these people down, and you're supposed to leech
the local public services,
right? And the local community is supposed to bow to your will, and you don't even pay taxes. That doesn't make any sense to me. But they're supposed to bow to you,
and they was give food stamps, social aid, all that.
Well, that's because they could claim they were homeless.
Yeah,
but once again,
but then once one of them got a house, they got like 15 of them in there with them.
Right, you can't say you're homeless there. Ask for building permits in clubs.
No, I'm talking about the individual people.
No, but what I'm saying is, even if you are the individual person, right?
Oh, they was going out into Edenton and Milledgeville, the ones that wasn't out on the land. These people were moving down there, but they had like 15 of them. They rent one place, and it'd be like 15 or 16 of them living there.
They're leeching off the system. They're going to get benefits and all that. And that county's a small county, so they're not set up, to deal with that amount of money going on.
It's a big piece of land, but it's a little amount of people on there. That's farmland. You know, they ain't set up for all that, because that's what they was talking about in the article. Oh, let me pull the article back up. But they was talking about the taxation on the land because, okay, look at it. You got about 300 people living on the land, right? The only one they taxing is York because he got them thinking it's a religious organization. But then he got these people running through the county filing for Medicaid, food stamps, and rental assistance and all this other kind of stuff. But the whole time they taking all the money back to York.
Yep. And then you want the county to bend to your will when you're not bringing. You have to be a productive member of society, right? If you're a society, you got to be a productive. They weren't productive at all.
Yeah.
Not towards, like you said, Millersville and Eatonton. All they were doing was sucking tax dollars out in droves. If you read the book, The Main Wife, by the young lady, it's a great book. But in that book, she talks about how they used to take all these young girls into the hospital with these children. They would have the children, and they weren't paying those bills. They would just leave the hospital with those bills. It's expensive. It's like $20,000-$30,000 to have a child, and they were doing that in droves. In a little tiny county, in a small county like that, with no taxable income coming in.
County is 6,000, but you're about 400 acres in there. That's about enough to house 6,000 people in and of itself. Looking at it logically.
Timberland, he could have got contractors, sold the timber.
No, he bought pasture land. Is what he bought.
Pasture land,
so he didn't have to
couldn't develop it.
York was cheap. He wasn't finna pay nobody to tear them trees down. When them folk come and buy that, you have to negotiate for them to take them stumps out too. He didn't have the equipment to do that himself. And you see how Miss was just talking about them digging the damn hole because they couldn't get no backhoe.
Yeah, he wouldn't fix it. The backhoe broke, and and of course he blamed them for breaking the backhoe. Not the fact that they're building pyramid after pyramid, construction projects,
people ain't construction people.
Yeah, and they have one vehicle to do all this stuff. Of course, it's gonna break, and it breaks, and then he gets mad that the vehicle's broken, and then he doesn't want to pay the thousands of dollars.
They was living worse than some Mexicans. That excerpt out that Bill Osinski book, it was like this dude had a white girlfriend, but she didn't want to move into the land, so they had an apartment up in Atlanta, and York started sending all these people there, and they was in there so bad. Like they trashed the apartment so bad, they moved and got another place. Soldier Bay, peace and welcome.
What was the pyramid made out of? The pyramid.
What was
the pyramid was made out of wood and what is that? Like styrofoam plaster, like a plaster type material that you spray over the wood.
Construction grade.
Like a spray on
styrofoam.
Styrofoam, yeah. Like a stucco type material, if you will. That's probably the best way to say it.
That big black one.
It was like a fourth grade. What is it?
The proper term for it is called drive it. When they actually use styrofoam, they plaster it with drive it. That's what's called a plaster made with glue, and that's what they put on it.
Right. Is that what y'all did in Egypt there, Shaka?
We actually use real bricks. We didn't use that bullshit, but I'm a fallback.
That's what makes me think that York actually at least made it to like the second grade, because that's like a second grade or third grade like project. Something you would do with your, when you make the volcanoes.
But see, York didn't care about what it took to make this stuff because he didn't have to lay a hand on it.
And he copied it. He copied it just like he copied everything else. Because if you go into Eatonton, there's a Remax sales office that sell that land and houses. There's a Remax, and that office is built in a pyramid. It's a pyramid office, and York saw it, and then he said, "What construction company built it?" They gave him the information. He called the construction company. They came out to the land. They did the proper pyramid built.
The black one in the middle.
Right, the black one. They did the permits and everything properly, and he told the brothers to watch them, see everything they do, write it down. And after they left, then York says, "Okay, now we're going to copy and do everything that we saw them do." And then he built the white pyramid. Yeah, that's what happened.
Hey, Mitch. Southern said the lady who wrote the book, The Main Wife, was she an ex-Nuwapian? So that's a yes. But which one was she? She was one of the main concubines, right?
Well, she was at one time, but she lost favor with York probably in the early 2000s. But
Yeah,
she did say that she was one of one of her biggest regrets was she found out about the molestation early, but she didn't have no one to tell, which makes sense to me. If you know how the land is set up and everything,
yeah.
everyone is trying to win York's favor. It makes perfect sense that she would have no one to tell because York knew everything that went on the land. I don't think
Because
people really
people were
understand
eager
how much
to
control.
go and snitch because you
Right
get favor from New York if you went
from
and
York.
told.
Yep.
That's
But
how cults are
she ever,
run.
Hmm.
didn't she
Yeah.
ever like go off the land for whatever reason, and then why she couldn't just tell the police or
You
This was
can't
one of
do.
the this was one of
Mhm.
the younger ones, right? The
No,
one that was brought in by her parents.
she was older. She was older. She joined at like 18, 19, came up through the ranks. York saw her, made her one of his wives. Then she eventually moved down to Georgia. But once she got down there, she lost favor with York because she seen some of the things that he was doing with regards to
Yeah.
some
Do
of the
you remember her
situations with
name?
food. I have the book. Give me a second here.
Hmm.
And
but
I think she writes it under a pseudonym though.
my
She
thing
uses a
is
pseudonym.
that
So.
they would sometimes go off the land and go like like go to the welfare office, right? Why couldn't she had beelined it to the federal building, well, whatever, the police department,
Yeah.
whatever
Y'all
that.
forget the part where York had these folk beating folk
Yeah.
asses.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's easy to say, if you were there, because even me, like I struggled when I was there, and I didn't live on the land. I lived as an Ansar in the early '90s, like '91. But when I was trying to find my exit strategy out of there was really very few people that you can that there was really only one person I could tell that I planned on leaving that would keep that information to themselves. The rest of the
Hmm.
people would set you up in order to win favor with the administration, because
Yep.
everything in there is it's like being
This wasn't
in a
Kathy
school.
Johnson, I don't think, Pickle
It's
Man.
like being in a school and you're not cool, but you're trying to get in with the cool kids. So you're
yeah,
willing to do everything that they do. They tell you to smoke, drink. You know it's wrong, but you do it just because you're trying to get in with the group.
right.
And that's what was taking place there. And they use certain tactics, like for example, York used food a lot, from my understanding.
Hmm.
He
He
used food a
starved.
lot. He starved people to death, and then he would take you out for a steak and lobster, and treat you like you're the most specialist person in the world. And everyone else is like, wow, you're hanging out with the master. And then the next day, he acts like he doesn't even know you. And you're like, what did I do? You didn't do anything. It's just that's how he does. It's a mental game, that he plays. Pimps and certain individuals do that all the time in order
Pimp
to
that stuff.
pimps, yeah. Pimps do
Yeah,
that to
Yeah,
because
it's
women
the
and those
same.
kind of
It's
things,
the
yeah.
same type
Yeah,
mentality, but
same
it's bigger than
mentality.
that because it's a cult.
Because it's a cult, right? But it is the same mentality, just on a larger scale. So I'm not going to stay long. Just a couple things I want to point out. Number one
Mhm.
is, so if those individuals on the land broke equipment or something, York wouldn't replace it, and oftentimes he would blame them for breaking it, even though it was just only one of something on the land. The second thing
Mhm.
is most of those trailers and everything that was set up around York's house with the path that you walk down, and they had all the different flags and stuff with the Nubian flag, American flag, and then York's house, and then York's house, and then these trailers. They started with like number 100, and they winded their way down to the path. Down there was like a basketball court and some other stuff. I can't remember all the things that were down there. I think it was a lake or a pond or something. But
Mhm.
the whole thing is outside of the trailers. What's that material? Chakra that they were using, whatever that stucco material was. They made
Ivory,
sure
Called
Ivory.
drive it. It's actually called
drive
drive
it,
it. That's right. Yes,
drive it.
drive
Yeah, on the outside of the trailer, all there was drive it, beautiful colors, nice. On the inside of the trailer, no running water, no electricity, no beds, no furniture. All of those kind of things were going on the inside of the trailer. And those trailers were packed. I'm talking about 30
Mhm.
people living in a trailer. 30, 25
Ridiculous.
people, 15, 18 people. That's crazy.
how
Yeah.
did
Let
they
me ask you this,
have
Mitch.
showers and stuff?
Okay, York's house was up in the upper right hand corner, the part of the land that was used, right?
Correct. At the top of the hill. Yep.
And yeah, right across from York's, that right across that little street, that little dirt road, was the kids' park, right?
Yep.
Would I be correct in assuming that the room that he spent the most time in would have a window that would gaze out on that park?
His not only that, but he had a porch in front of his house. His house had a porch on it, like one of those porches that ran the entire length of the house.
Yeah.
So he had a porch and he just sit out there and watch the children.
Yep, he had a
But wasn't
ability
nobody
to do
else
it.
allowed up there.
Except the women that were responsible for the children. That was it.
And they knew what was going on.
Some not, I don't know if all of them knew. I'm not going to say all of them knew, but there was definitely had to be some that knew what York was
But
up
see,
to.
the ones that knew, they always pulled those children off on their own. But I mean, it had
Once
to
they
be
got
one
older,
of them in there for him to say, "Yeah, go get that one."
Yep. Once they got older,
He had them
they would
children in
breed
that
it.
playground like a goddamn cattle pen.
They would breed it because I'm gonna tell y'all a story real quick. When I was in New York City and I was growing up, I used to go to clubs. I used to go to Tunnel and all that kind of stuff. I was big into like house and hip hop and all this kind of stuff. And he had this friend named Teddy. Teddy was a guy that when he walked in the room, girls would just walk up to him. They would just walk up to Teddy like he had like greenish eyes, and he was about 5'9", 5'10", broad shoulders, nice looking complexion, and girls would flock to Teddy. And he could have any girl that he wanted, literally any girl that he wanted. We go into a club, he'd be like, "I'm getting her tonight," and sure enough, he would leave with that girl. And he would do this. He did it so much that eventually he became bored with women because he could have any woman he wanted. So one day Teddy was like, "Hey man, I think I'm gonna get a guy tonight." I'm looking at it like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just tired of messing with women." Next thing I know, he was messing with men. And then he could have any man he wanted, whether he was straight or gay, he's pulling. I'm like, "Dude, what is going on?" He's like, "Man, I just don't know what." He was like, "I don't know what I want to do."
Okay,
I joined the military. When I came back home, I went to see another Ansel partner, Abdul Rauf. His name was Rick, Puerto Rican guy on the east side, Spanish Harlem, New York. I said, "Yo, Rauf, let's go get Teddy. Let's go out." He was like, "Man, I didn't want to tell you, but Teddy killed himself." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, he came to my house and he told me that he didn't like life because he could have anything and everything that he wanted. He became so bored and frustrated with life that it became just mundane and boring. Like if you're watching TV and nothing's on that you want to see every day, that's how life was to Teddy. It became that way to him. He jumped off the sixth floor building, off one of the tenement buildings in New York, and he killed himself. And I only tell that story because I can imagine that as Dr. York, with every woman throwing themselves at you, that eventually you would get bored with that. I would think, you can have any woman that you want, any time that you want, any time of the day, you do everything that you want. And in his mind, he started coming up and dreaming of other fantasies, which eventually led to the children. That's his sickness that he developed, and they didn't stop it. And he didn't end his life like Teddy. He decided he go destroy other people's lives with that BS.
And he kept just going younger and younger. And when that wasn't enough anymore, he went to little boys.
Yep. When the girls weren't enough, and the young teenage girls weren't enough, and she eventually turned to little babies. Having sex with 7 and 8-year-old boys.
This is what happens when a sickness like this goes unchecked. It's a progression. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right. Definitely doesn't. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say. When I was in Brooklyn, when I was in high school, and I was thinking about joining into the community, and I used to hang out and pedal with the brothers. They used to tell me, "Whatever you do, don't join Brooklyn." I was like, "Why?" Because if you ever been to Brooklyn, the Bushwick community, it was on Hart Street in Myrtle is it Myrtle? Is it what is it? Why am I messing up? Is it Myrtle Beach? What? Help me out. It's been a minute.
He didn't. He just took it, Nappy.
Myrtle,
He just
Myrtle
took
Street, Bushwick. Anyway, it had all these tenement row houses on each side, and outside the buildings looked nice. Okay, they look nice on the outside, but when you go in the houses, the brothers were sleeping on milk crates with foam mattress pads were their bed because they didn't have no furniture in those buildings. So they slept on foam mattress pads, and in their bathroom they had no running water, period. So they used to have to go get water from the street that you turn on with the spigot, and they would go in and pour that into the toilets to flush the toilets, and they would use the bucket water and wash with cold water. They couldn't even heat the water up because there was no electricity. And this was in 90, 1990, right before when York was going back and forth between Brooklyn and upstate New York. So and once he left there, and that's 20, 30 years ago,
pretty much abandoned it.
they're basically abandoned buildings at this point. There's nothing really inside of those buildings. Now, I'm sure the buildings themselves are worth millions because you can always go in there and redo everything, with the right construction crew and build it like brand new. But the actual inside of those apartment units, trashed.
Nappy
And I
said,
bet,
"How did you convince men to turn their wives over to him?"
how did he do that? Well, I don't think he convinced men to do that so much as he convinced the women to do it. And a man can't stop a woman, in my opinion, a man can't stop a woman from doing anything she's going to do. You know what I mean?
Will you
You
hear
can't
when I
stop a
was reading
woman.
the book, Nappy? The lady that got pregnant by him in Trinidad and Tobago, she had married another man. They done had 3, 4 more kids. Years later, over a decade later, her and her daughter end up going back to York.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up taking the other 2 daughters and they got molested.
Right. York got a sister pregnant, married a sister, got her. He married a young lady. She got pregnant, and then he married her sister and got her pregnant as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they, brothers and uncles at the same time? Brothers
Something
and
like
it's crazy.
brothers and cousins or
And
something.
cousins and uncles, because they're sisters, right?
And
I
then
don't
if you
know.
ask how did the parents allow him to take their children, the
They
children was in somebody else's care.
they thought it was most of those women thought it was a gift to give their daughters to York because they looked up as York as Imam Misa, the savior, the savior figure for the children. So they thought they were doing their children a favor by giving them over to York.
My
Yep.
brother, let me ask you just one question. Um, wasn't there lectures that Dr. York talked about where they want to separate themselves and have generations where they would do inbreeding with each other, only Nawapians only?
He talked about that. Yeah, he definitely talked about that where they would breed amongst each other in order to breed out what they call the devil seed or something. And
So
they would do it for a
all
certain amount of
these
generations, according to him, and
all
not
this
have any
stuff that he
deformities.
just threw out to cover up his own proclivities, these people bought it, and
Yep,
some of them living it out to this day.
yep. Hook, line, and sinker. He bought it, and he would play. He would tell them like if he would have you basically questioning. You would question yourself over your loyalty towards him because he the way he played everything out as a game, as if it was a chess, a game, like you were playing a game of chess with him, and he wanted to see if you were going to stay in the game to the end. That's how he ran it, as if like this is a school, right? And if you pass this grade, then you go into the next grade. So regardless of what I do to you in this grade, you have to take it because if you don't take it, then you'll never make it to the next grade, and you'll never eventually graduate. So that's how those a lot of those brothers they went through it. They're like, well, if the master wants my wife, then he's obviously testing my loyalty to him. So I'm going to be loyal. He used to use the term hold on to the rope. So I'm going to hold on to the rope because I know this is a test and I'm going to get through this test. That's how he played it psychologically, but it really wasn't no game. It was him in his perverted mind taking other people's wives and he knew they were married. these people would be married, and then he would justify sleeping with someone's wife, and then taking that person's wife, who they're legally married to, as a playmate, basically, if you will, a playmate, and call him that's his mate or his wife, even though they're not legally married. And he would do that to brother after brother after brother. And if you left and you didn't take it, then you weren't strong enough. Then you shouldn't have been there in the first place. That's what they would tell the brothers. I personally, yeah, I personally never went through that, because, like I said, when I first started messing with the Nubians, I was 17 years old. So I was in 11th grade, and then when I went into my senior year, at 18, I was basically full-fledged Nuwapian, like going to school, not Nuwapian at the time, we called them Ansars, but it's the same damn difference. Going to school, I used to wear white jalabia to school, on the train, go to high school like this, and then I had a religious, I had a religious pass on Fridays. Well, on Fridays I would stay up to school till like 11, and I would leave school, get on the train, go out to Bushwick, Brooklyn, to Myrtle Avenue, walk 2 blocks, 3 blocks, whatever it was, down to the mosque, and then I would do prayers on Fridays, and then I would come back and then go back to school. And that's what I would do every Friday for like my entire senior year. I quit the basketball team. I was the starting point guard for the basketball team. I had a partial scholarship offer. I got a partial scholarship offer in my senior year to play basketball at not LIU, but was it Wesleyan? Something Wesleyan that my coach had set up for me. I completely turned that down to be in this damn cult, because that's how I was convinced that this was the answer, and that the world was going to end in the year 2000, and the only way we were going to get out of here was by raising these children to go up on this ship Nibiru to beat 144,000 to come back to save the planet. That's how convinced I was at this time, at the age of 18. But when I look back at it, I tell myself, listen, I read a lot, but I read the wrong information. I didn't understand what sources were. I didn't understand what research was. Okay, I didn't understand that surface level information versus deep level information. Meaning, if someone is jumping subjects all over the place, I'm a doctor 1 minute, a Bible master the next minute, a scientist the next minute. It's impossible to be expert in all of these different things. So they can't go beneath the surface. They'll say one or two things that may be true, and they'll hit you with those first, and then they'll go into a bunch of BS. And that's generally what you see happening, sad to say, in this conscious community. When you got a person like Polite saying that coronavirus is caused by 5G, and people are listening and believing that, I'm like, dude, I didn't have the internet to look this stuff up. You have Google at your fingertips and Alexa. There's no excuse for you to believe that coronavirus is caused by 5G. That's the craziest thing I ever heard. But people are believing it. And I'm sure if I look at myself, I'm 48 now. So if I go back to when I was 18, 30 years ago, I was listening to information like that too, believing it hook, line, and sinker. You know what I mean? Believing it hook, line, and sinker. And he made it so convenient because he had the prettiest books. They had the rappers like Jazzo and Tragedy Gaddafi and De La Soul and all these Jimmy Cliff and Africa Bambaataa, and they had these jackets, and they had KMD, and they had and then you see, like, they had New York on lockdown. Like, when you got on a train station, 42nd Street, 34th Street, everywhere you went, you seen an Ansar brother out there looking positive and with the books and everything. And if you were looking for positive information, I understand, like myself, why you got drawn in. But once you got in, I didn't see any of that. It was all about worshiping York. And I never worshiped York in that way. I just didn't. I just never seen him that way, where I'm worshiping a man. I never caught on like that. But I learned real quick that 99% of them during that time did. And during that time, they were praying and they were supposed to be Muslims and they were still worshiping York. So today in 2021, 100% of them worship York. I'm sure of it. I bet $1,000 on it right now that they all worship York.
Mm-hmm.
So
As
when I
you
see,
see the lovely video you sent me.
so when I see me as a Mason, and I'm a past master, all that kind of stuff. I'm Prince Hall, by the way, And when I see as a Mason, when I look, and I never went through York's Masonic stuff ever, because I was in the military and I knew that wasn't Masonry, so I never joined any of that stuff. So when I see it, I recognize what they're trying to do. They're doing a very bad job at it, but there's no way that you should be saluting a Grand Master as a picture. First of all, as a Mason, a Grand Master has three primary officers: a Grand Master, right, of a jurisdiction. He has a senior Grand Warden of a junior jurisdiction, and he has a senior junior warden of a jurisdiction. The three primary officers of any lodge. So if a Grand Master could not be present, he would send a representing officer to represent him at a function.
They wouldn't
He
use a
would never
picture.
send a picture of him damn self. Talking about bow down to my picture and spin around and like you the Temptations and do all this foolishness with your hands. Who does that? I don't know any Masonic jurisdiction that does that. Because we
Yeah.
always say one monkey don't stop no show, right?
Hey, unforgettable bug.
Except in the case of the Nuwapis, one monkey stops the show in its tracks because if
Yeah.
Dr. York ain't there, their doctrine's dead. They don't have no new information. All they can do is regurgitate the old stuff and then say that they don't
Every
believe in it.
time I think about them, all I can think about is that little giggle, that little titter that came out of New University's mouth when I had that avatar up of York.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like glee. He was like, ooh, like he just saw that he got so happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they worship York. But check this out, sis. This is a true story. And this is one of the reasons I think I got seduced into the Ansars. I used to have this friend named Raouf I was telling you about, Puerto Rican guy named Rick. And Rick was, I mean, little, was 130 pounds, soaking wet, Puerto Rican, but his mouth is 6 feet tall, 300 pounds. That's his mouth, but he's actually about 130 pounds, 5'5", right? So, but he was sharp with the doctrine, sharp, sharp, sharp. So one day, I went to one of my friends' houses when I was in 11th grade. We came from basketball practice, and I went to my friend's house, and we were over there listening to music, doing all this kind of stuff, rapping, all this kind of stuff. And I just happened to glance at his desk, and I seen this book, and the book said, "In which Jesus do you follow?" And it had all these different pictures of Jesus, right? A white Jesus, a black Jesus, the Jesus with the long hair, Jesus looking this way, that way. And I'm looking, and I grew up in Spanish Harlem, which is Catholic. So I've seen various different pictures of Jesus, Jesus as a baby, Jesus this way. And it said, "Which Jesus do you follow?" I'm like, So I open it, and I'm like, and he's like, basically saying, we see all these different images of Jesus, blah, 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 this, and this. I told my friend, I was like, yo, let me hold this book. So he was like, okay. Then he said, "What book is that?" And I showed him. He said, "You can't take that. That's my girlfriend's book." He said, "She'll kill me." I said, "Man, just let me borrow it. I promise you I'm a fast reader. I'll bring it back tomorrow." He's like, I'm trusting you, Mitch. You can take it, but bring it back. So I took the book home. I read it on the train from the Lower East Side up to Spanish Harlem, where I live. By the time I got home and went back to school the next day, I was done with the book. I gave him back the book, no problem. But that book intrigued me, and I remember seeing pictures of Dr. York in the book. So then that's when I started noticing different things, blah, blah, blah. Long story behold, when I was in school, one of my teachers, not my teacher, excuse me, she was an administrator. Her son comes to the school one day, and he was an Ansar. And he's in the classroom. He's like, yo, we're just sitting there, and we're like this Black History Club type thing going on. And he's like, yo, how many of y'all know about the 666 on the Pepsi can? And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. And he holds up a Pepsi can. He's like, see that P backwards is a 6, and that P backwards is a 6, and then the E and the I. You see, that's that's a 6, and so it's really saying 666. I'm like, what? And he's doing all this stuff, and he's showing me the dollar bill and the Illuminati, and the Masons are worship the devil, and I was intrigued by this information. So he's like, where you live? Started asking him a bunch of questions. He's like, yo, where you live? I said, I live in Spanish Harlem. He's like, man, I got a partner up there, a Spanish guy named Rick. I'm gonna hook you up with him. So I was like, okay. So he gives me Rick number. So I call Rick up. I'm like, yo, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, yo, we come up, we hook up, we link up. And he's like, yeah, my I'm like, man, how you learn all this information? He's like, yo, man, my teacher's the angel Melchizedek. He's the angel Michael. He's the warring angel. His mouth is the sword of fire, and all these different things. I'm like, wow, intrigued by the way he's talking. And he gives me this tape, and he starts taking me to classes. Start taking me to classes. Start taking me to classes. Next thing I know, I'm going to classes on my own. And I'm joining them, wearing white and getting religious exemptions and all this kind of stuff to be a part of this information, because I thought this information was so deep. After all of these years, I look back on the information, and what's sad is I see the same information being permeated on the internet today, 30 years later. The same crap about the Illuminati and the trilateral family and the Bilderbergs and the this and the that. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Dr. York is now all over with this crap, garbage information, poisoning people's minds with the same information that got me 30 years ago. So I made it my business to say, listen, I'm gonna go out like you're doing, sis, and I love you so much for doing it. Chuck, Mike, anybody that's speaking against these cults, and specifically this cult, because they got that glitter, that magic going. That's what they do. They give you this pretty symbol with that looks like it's glittering, is all gold, and you find out it's crap.
Oh. Don't find yourself 20 years from now doing this shit. They gonna pay for that. I bet you they paid for that the next day. I bet you they had all kind of ointments and liniments sitting up there getting their wives to rub their backs because they wrong.
Mm-hmm.
No, Mitch, I know you said you couldn't stay up here long.
Yeah, I'm a bounce. It's 12:30. I gotta work.
And not like I'm trying to run you out, but I don't want you to look down and be like, shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna call out in the morning. I'm good.
Right. But no, I found this, and we're gonna listen to this. I'm not showing y'all the bottom yet because I want y'all to listen. Don't have no prior misconceptions. I'm gonna give y'all a trigger warning. This won't be the easiest thing for y'all to hear. I'm not sure how bad because I haven't listened. I don't know exactly which audio clip this is. All I know is it's Jim Jones. So we gonna start.
Or to deal with every liar that I'm dealing with. You will be a liar indirectly or directly. So you stage things to defend yourself in council meetings here or in Monday night. You stage setups to make yourself look good. Whatever it is, it's still a form of treason. And I'm afraid of it. I'm getting so terrified of it, I don't even feel close to some people out of the field. People who put me in a bad light. Or attempt to, consciously or unconsciously, rather than to admit the one thing that has been said, and I repeat, and no one can be any more honest than this with you. I have never done anything with any of you, whatever it was at any time, that it was not to bring you to some growth. I never take advantage of any human being. Never have made any human being do anything. So don't pose any kind of situations like that. It makes me feel grossly uncomfortable. Maybe at the time I can't tell you what I'm doing. It's a testimony to your strength that I work with you. Bring out things in your mind, let you see yourself. Expose things about you to yourself that'll make you stronger to help others. Because no one that doesn't know themselves is not worth a salt. They can't lead anybody at any time unless they know themselves. And I don't see very much care over here of what I know. Really knowing oneself. I said I'm disappointed from Sunday to Monday night. I was disappointed. I was really disappointed from Sunday to Monday night. in council situations that came back to my attention. Not because anyone volunteered it to me or brought it to me, but because I had to get it.
Let me tell y'all, for the more sensitive among us, now might be the time that you want to go ahead and walk out the room. It's got about 9 minutes left. Final warning. Final warning. You can cut it on mute. Look at the time now. It's 12:25. 9 minutes from now will be 12:36. And give y'all a couple of seconds to do that. And then I'm going to continue. Okay, here we go.
And I'm really weary with this. And I want to say that Father Jones is calm, but that's the most dangerous time. The calm comes just before the storm. I'm about ready to blow. Now, what I'm going to blow is I'm going to take care of people that are going to be honorable. If I have to put 6-foot-high fence around here and stop every plan I had for outreach and put an electric wire around here, I'll keep out the dogs, and I'm not talking about four-legged ones because they're sweet. I'll keep out all of the rascals that are trying to do harm to those that want to work with me in principle. I mean blind agreement with me, but work with principle. Give me their word and share alike.
They even killed the monkeys that they had.
This place, you've got to stand on guard of it, on top of it. Not
in Jonestown.
If the North Church has to do that, well, no other church ever did try to do anything about dishonesty. Just let dishonesty grow and get so heavy and thick that you couldn't do anything about it. So no one ever would try to straighten out anything, because if you tried to straighten it out, you'd have to tear the whole thing up. That's how dishonest every movement's been up until now. And this movement can get that way overnight. I have to watch it every minute. And if you let this go a year, it's gone. Now, I have some things that right in the Helmet Council. This week I ordered something. I had a treater here, a minister, and I ordered him how to be handled. And I told sisters how to handle him. And I said, take that brother out and show him through senior citizen homes and so forth. But one of my own lieutenants, ego for a moment got between him and what was good. Because the sister told him, Jim doesn't want that. He says, I said it's going to be. So I had to spend long as it's called today and get Sister Karen Layton to do
send me an email, Mitch. I got you.
Because of something that won my closest cooperation. And I feel I've been let down by some of you that are in the closest circle. I'm really disturbed. I can't go out and jump on this man. I'm let down in the following ways. I just got it down. I knew this was coming, though I wasn't posted it was coming. So
email me, Mitch, and I'll email you his number.
Let the man know I'm standing at the door. Let the man. I'm not healing anybody in the sense that I'll be disrupted, but just let him move quietly. No chatting now. Tell him very kindly. No chit-chatting at the door. No chit-chatting. No of your amenities. None of your social amenities. I don't want you to greet anybody. You keep your mind up here. And don't you even look back there and see who I'm correcting. You all keep your faces up here. Ordinarily, there's time for that, and we need to fill the atmosphere with love. But not, we're in danger. This movement's in danger. And it's not in danger from without, but from within. Alliances that are being formed within the movement. I'm principled. The marriage should be to me. I don't need that marriage. I don't want that marriage. But the office doesn't have anybody else to put in its position right now. So I'm here. And it's the first alliance and first marriage should be to me. Too many of you people follow someone else here instead of me as a basic ideal. And I'm afraid of it. I like it because it reduces some of my strain, my work. But you're here with other contacts. We're here because of some I don't know how to make this some other hero, and there shouldn't be any heroes but socialism anyway. You pursue this work through somebody else. You follow through someone else. You make alliances with people in my own staff and council, thinking that will make you in. You do favors for people in my council and staff, and I'm going to tell you, frankly, I don't think they're wise enough to always know what's going on. Many times they are, but not always are they wise enough to know that they're being used. Little courtesies. I saw one of them done just not more than a few hours ago to one of the members of my board. And all they were trying to do was manipulate you, and you didn't know it. You took it hook, line, and sinker.
Thank you, bud.
This is a terrible task we're called to do, to be honest amidst a dishonest day, a totally dishonest generation. And you're going to have to get convicted of my honesty, or you're going to have to get out of here. And all this kind of stuff Herman reveals to me, you're not convicted of my honesty. You wouldn't lie to me. You wouldn't do these games if you were convicted of my honesty. Now, by this I mean, if you were convicted of the full measure of my devotion. And I put this picture up there. Each of these men in that picture, to some degree, gave their last measure of devotion. I'd like you to talk it over and over and over, and you get in your mind. You see, I have to give so much of my body and my mind that if anyone will be sick, it'll be I. If anyone will be bearing infirmities or aging, it'll be me, because I have to take on everybody's problems. If I didn't, I would never age. I think
You hear that, right? I have to take on everybody's problems. Hey, Joseph. Devil hunting tonight. Well, we was talking about York, but I wanted everybody to hear this clip. It's got a couple of minutes. It's got 3 minutes left, but y'all hear that, right? This is the start of well, this ain't the start, but the rest was a build up for this. So listen, just listen close. You got something to say, Chakra?
I'm just listening. I noticed that he's going into the victim mentality, victim mode. He's the victim of the organization, of the people in the organization that's under that he's over. So I think that's how he's manipulating himself as being a victim and being burdened by the people when it's really the other way around.
But wait, it's 3 minutes left now. Remember, does anything that I've said so far sound graphic? Just wait till it all wrap up till you make any decisions.
I could really whip it. I've got the keys. I really got the keys.
Yeah, it was Father Divine.
But instead of keeping it, I'm opening it up.
Hold on, let me rewind this back. Remember when everybody kept asking? Mother Divine gave Jim Jones an ultimatum. The Afro has learned that the Reverend Jim Jones, the architect of the bizarre murder-suicide ritual in Jonestown, Guyana, once attempted to seize control of all the late Father Divine's peace mission movement. I told y'all.
Immortality. But instead of keeping it, I'm opening it up as much as I can for you. But the risk is in opening it for you, I lose it for myself. And I don't mind that whatsoever if you become what I am in principle. If you become the kind of sensitive being that I am, then I'm happy to lose my life. So you think it's easy being God? I can help people. I can help myself. Well, I can't. There might be such a thing that I would be drawn on by such a number of disloyalties as this. Are the disloyalties that I've seen in the last 3 days that I can have a stroke. Instructions are given. I will never permit being kept alive with a stroke. I will not allow it. Are you willing to do that? Some people recover from a stroke. I will not take, it's only given a certain limited time. If through hypocrisy and dishonesty and disloyalty, I am overdrawn and I am for any reason paralyzed or disabled, there are only a matter of hours for it to get corrected or I am to be removed from the scene, and my mind will make its transmigration, its transmission into another mind, into another body that I've already selected. We've already gone over that. That there'll be someone else sitting in this seat. Now, I'm not going to sit and let that happen easily. I'm getting mighty fed up with this, because I'm not dying for principle. I'm dying for crap. When I see this kind of stuff, I'm not dying for principle. I'm not laying down my life to save humanity if humanity doesn't lift itself up. If you don't become what I am, I'm saying this to every blessed one of you, because I'm going to free anyone I counsel. I'm not going to free one, because I think I'm close enough to some of you to say, there wasn't one for that counsel last night that played games, one sort or another. You don't level with me, or even in some cases try to put me in a bad spot. Try to get around rules and laws. Set up, you know you can't quote anything unless you say who it is. You know that's the rule. And as I said, just this case, right now, there's some charge. I don't know. I'm going to ask brother just to try to show you what kind of principle we have. Man who like that, second to none. If brother did this.
This didn't have the clip I thought it had in it, but doesn't matter. Still shows the context. And this,
I don't care what you think of my father.
This is his natural son, Stephen Jones. What's going on?
Sit down and see how.
Oh. Okay, it should be back up. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. He could have been 2.0. He didn't quite make it there, but he could have been.
Oh, they shut you down.
I'm still up. It should come back up.
Yeah, I'm seeing stream unavailable right now.
Yes, ma'am. It say it'll come back up. Huh?
I said, okay.
The video I just played, it should come back up because it still say I'm live. But the email I just got said it should come back up. Oh, let me just go ahead and shut it down and then bring it back up. Yeah. All right. Bye. Yeah, y'all just stay there, Prime.
All right.